All right, this one's about the St. John's Towers in Stamford, Connecticut. In my opinion, these are actually two. There were originally three in the beginning, but these, in my opinion, are two of Stamford's last historical buildings of large stature. So the St. John's Towers were built in 1971. They were cylindrical, rounded, 17-story buildings built as part of an urban renewal project sponsored by St. John's Parish, and they were designed by Victor Bashrat. Over the decades, Stamford underwent a massive redevelopment, just like Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and New Rochelle, and all these other places in the city that are ongoing gentrification. And over those decades, Stamford has seen major redevelopment, the construction of new posh-style apartment buildings, restaurants, upscale restaurants, major upgrades to the Metro North Station, the major hub for Amtrak trains, Connecticut's Shoreline, and Metro North. The Stamford, Connecticut is also the home of corporate giants such as Gartner, Comcast, World Wrestling Entertainment, George Comfort, and a few others. And Stamford, Connecticut was also the home of the Maury Povich Show, and Jerry Springer Show, and Steve Wilkos Show. They had the studios right there on Main Street. Yes, so in the past 13 years, from my experience, I've seen the Stamford. Stamford always looked like a decent place to live, but over the past 13 years, more and more stuff has been built in Stamford. What is going on in Stamford? I think it's going to ultimately result in people being priced out. All the first generation and second generation residents and beyond, they're going to be priced out. Stamford, Connecticut has a large population of the Spanish people, mainly from Latin America, with very few black residents remaining. Most of the workforce, they're day laborers that work in food service and other jobs as well. Will they be able to afford the rent if they build these new towers? They say that it is still going to be affordable, but affordable for who? We all know that's a multifaceted thing. Because usually with gentrification, what happens is they'll build a building, a nice modern style building with mainly glass all over it and stuff, and it's going to be for people that are making 6 figures and up. Because of inflation, they're saying now 6 figures is not even enough with the cost of everything. And so that's my main concern. There are people still living in the other two towers now. I was just in Stamford yesterday. I had to work in the area yesterday, and you can see that there are people that still live in those buildings. You see people have curtains up. Some people don't have curtains. Some people have lights on in their apartments. I personally think they should leave those two towers alone. They're a rich piece of Stamford's history. If anything, what I think they should do, they should try to restore those two towers. They should strip them down, do some repointing, I guess find out what steel beams are deteriorating, what needs to be replaced. They should repaint the buildings, just do a revitalization of them. I think they should leave the buildings alone. Also, those buildings, they have superior construction. They were built in 1971. That's when sheetrock wasn't really a thing back then. Those buildings are mainly concrete and steel. They're pretty much built the same way as Co-op City buildings, River Park Towers, and Tracy Towers in the Bronx. Um, they're they're nostalgic. They're pretty much they're antiques because all these new buildings now they're using a lot of sheetrock between the apartments. I mean, the overall shell is concrete and steel, but between everyone's apartments and stuff, it's sheetrock. It's just not the same as before. So get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Should they tear those remaining two towers down? I think they should leave them alone. Get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Thank you for listening.